Good morning, children. Today I am going to explain you the portion of next chapter, that is chapter 7, review Python. Okay, that is introduction of Python. Okay, now see children, any task that you perform in your daily life, it consists three steps. Which three steps? Input, processing and output. Okay, now let's explain with this, taking one example. See, here a child is playing with the clay. Fine. So input is clay. Now child is molding the clay. Okay. So it is a process. Now what would be the output? Making toy or giving any shape. Fine. This is output. Okay. So here we have tried to show three process: input, process and output. Now same happen with the computer. Computer takes input, process the data and return output. So whatever you input is called data. You can see this data, this is input. What you are inputting? Data. Data get processed and then it gives output as a information. Fine. Now computer performs all these operations. It performs so many operations. So all these operations, whichever the computer is perform, it perform with the so many different programs. Fine. And do you know what is program? Yes, you all know what is program. Set of instructions. Fine. Now set of instructions make a program. Set of programs make a software. Fine. So your computer works according to this command which is given through the program. Fine. The person who write those program are called programmer, and the language which is used by the programmer is called programming language. Okay. Okay. So these are the different apps or the program. You can say app, you can say programs. Now programmer I have already explained you. Who will become a programmer? The person who write the code. Fine. Now see children, there are so many languages. Fine. But here I am going to explain you Python. Okay. Scala, C#, Swift, JavaScript, PHP, Java, C, C++, fine, Ruby, but we are going to study Python. These are all top programming languages. Now, what is Python? See here the P is get cut. Now, what is Python? It is an interpreted object oriented programming language. Although children, this C, C++, Java, C#, fine. These are also object oriented programming language. But why Python? Python is an interpreted object oriented high level programming language with a dynamic semantics. What do you understand by it? It is very easy to learn the syntax and emphasize readably, and therefore it reduces the cost of the program maintenance. Okay. It supports modules and packages which encourage the program modularity and the code reuse. Fine. You can easily reuse the ready-made code. Fine. Now, see, let's study the features of a Python. What are the features of Python? first. It is easy. You can see it is written easy. Fine. This is easy. Why it is easy? Python is a very developer friendly language, children, which means that anyone and everyone can learn to code it in a very easily, very couple of hours or day. Fine, as it is not so difficult like the other programming language or the other object oriented programming language or high level language like C, C Sharp, Java. Fine, Python is easier than these languages. Fine. Now the next is open data source. Fine, the Python has a open data source. What does it mean? Free and open data source. You can see it is written free and open data source. Free and open data source means that anyone can create and contribute to its development. Python has an online forum where thousands of coders gather daily to improve this language further. Along with this, Python is free to download and use in any operating system. You can use this Python in Windows, you can use in Mac or Linux. So that is why it is called open source and free. Okay. Now next is it supports for GUI. What is the meaning of GUI? Graphic User Interface. So this Python language supports for GUI. GUI or Graphic User Interface is one of the key aspect of any programming language, children, because it has the ability to add flair to code and make the result more visible. Fine. Python has support for a wide array of GUI which can easily be imported to the interpreter, thus making this one of the most favorite language of the developer. Okay, so that is why supports for GUI also. Now the next, it approaches a object oriented. It is one of the object oriented. Fine. Now one of the key aspect of Python is it is object oriented approach. This is basically mean the Python recognize the concept of class. Fine, because in C language there is no concept of class. It is start with the C++. So Python also recognize the concept of class and object encapsulation, thus allow the program to be efficient in a long run. Okay. Now it is, as I said, these all object oriented programming comes under the category of high level language. So this Python is also object oriented programming language. That means it is also high level language. Fine. When we say Python is a high level language, that means when you code in Python, you don't need to aware about the coding structure, architecture, as well as the memory management. Okay. Now next is it is integrated by nature. It is integrated by nature. What do you understand by this? Python is an integrated language by nature. This means that the Python interpreter execute the code one line at a time. Fine. In Python, the interpreter execute the code one line. You also know that in work of the interpreter, it translate one line at a time. Fine. So interpreter execute the code one line at a time. Unlike the other programming languages, we don't need to compile the Python code, thus make the debugging process much easier and efficient. Fine. Now, the another advantage of this integrated nature is that upon executing the Python code is immediately converted into an intermediate from also known as bytecode. That code which immediately generate, that is called bytecode, which make it easier to execute and also it saves the time in the long run. Okay, that is why it is called integrated by nature. Now, highly portable. This Python is highly portable language. Fine. What is the meaning of portable? It is highly portable. Suppose you are running Python on a Windows and you need to ship the same to either a Mac or a Linux system. Fine. Then you can easily achieve the same in Python. Fine. Without having to worry about the changing the code. That is why we said it is highly portable. This is not possible in other programming language, children. Thus making the Python one of the most portable language available in the industry. Okay, so that is why it is called highly portable. Now, interactive mode. When Python is have a interactive mode. Interactive mode means it is also has a REPL provide us with a quick way to running the block or a single line of a Python code. Fine. The code execute via the Python shell, which comes with the Python installation. When you install the Python, you will get a shell. Fine. That means the window which comes with the prompt. Fine. That is called shell. I'll show you. In next slide, I will show you the window of shell. Interactive mode is handy when you just want to execute the basic Python commands, or you are new to Python programming and just want to get your hand dirty with the beautiful language. Okay, now to access the Python shell, open the terminal of your operating system and then type Python. Press the enter key and Python shell will appear. Fine. This is same Python execute the use of execute script which comes installed by the default or Mac or the Unix operating system. Fine. Okay. So, let's see how to install the Python. Next is how to install a Python. First step, select the version of the Python to install. Second, download Python executable installer. Third step, run executable installer, children. And the fourth one, verify the Python was installed on the Windows. And number 5, verify pip for install. And number 6, add Python path to environment variables. So these are the steps whenever you are going to install, because you have to perform the practical questions also. You have to create a program also, which I will give you and I will explain you also. Fine. So please install Python. Okay, in your system. It's easy and free. You can easily download Python. Now, when you download the Python, this is what I am talking about. This is called shell. Python shell. Okay, so when you download, this Python window will come like this, and this 3 greater than sign, this sign is called the prompt, Python prompt. Here we write the code and you get the output then and there. Okay, now working mode of the Python. Children, in Python there are 2 options method for running the code. Fine. First is interactive mode and the second one is script mode. First is interactive mode and the second one is script mode. Now, what is interactive mode? Interactive mode is basically also known as a REPL, provide us with a quick way of running block or the single line of a Python code. Fine. The code execute via the Python shell, which comes with the Python installation. Fine. See, here I have given you the example. If you just want to print hello world, fine. What you have to write? Print just as you have done in a basic print print. You just write this print in a prompt and write the hello world within a quote. When you press enter, you will get the output then and there. Fine. So, for example, to print the text hello world, we can type like this. Fine. So, once you install Python, try to run this simple statement. Okay. Now, script mode. What do you understand by the script mode? If you need to write a long piece of Python code, or your Python script span multiple files, interactive mode is not recommended. Fine. If your program has only 1 or 2 line or 3 line, it's okay. Interactive mode is good. But if your program has so many long piece of code, fine, or have a multiple files, then this interactive mode will not recommended. Script mode is the way to go to such cases. In script mode, you write your code in a text file and then save it with a .py extension, beta. Fine, which stand for Python. .py means Python. Note that you can use any text editor, children. You can write your script in a Notepad or Atom or Sublime, whatever the editor you have, you can write it on that. If you are in a standard Python shell, you can click on File, then choose a new file. Simply hit the Control N to create a new file from the keyboard to open a blank script in which you can write your code, and you can then press Control S to save it, as you did with the other files also. Okay. While saving, you have to write the secondary name .py. Primary name could be anything, but secondary name should be .py. Okay. After writing your code, you can run it by clicking on the run and then run module, or simply press F5. Fine. So, as you have done in a basic also to run that program, fine. Here also, if you want to run the script, Python script, you have to click on the run, or you can simply press F5. Is it clear? Now, let's create a one file from Python shell, fine, and give it the name hello.py. This hello is a primary name, and .py denote that it is a program code written in a Python script. Okay, we need to run this program. See here, this is the script mode. Fine, I have written one statement, print hello world. Fine, and then I run it. Fine, and after while I am running this program, I'll get this output hello world. Fine. So that's all for the children. Have a nice day.